You were telling me this thing about despising humans for 13 years. You despised humans.
I don't know that it's really stopped.
Oh, okay.
This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
But I like really despised humans for like the first 25 years of my life. Well, probably less than that because when I was really young, I didn't, I didn't have those thoughts.
Yeah.
My thoughts were more like, um, when I was young, I thought that we were like puppets and there was like giants that controlled us and we just moved, I made up a story about that. And that's what I told myself.
You you do you think maybe you're not so far off with that though? You
Right,
it's possible.
right.
I
Kind of like a marionette, or like there was just this greater whatever. They were giants.
mhm.
In my mind, they were giants that were kind of just controlling us and like having us do certain things, our actions.
Mhm.
But I was too young then to make a connection of thoughts and actions.
Mhm.
But then when I got older, when I went to college for the first time, I was like, wow, I really hate humans. I lived in Boston and I just was so disheartened at people's behavior, especially, college age kids. Their disregard for everyone but themselves and everything but themselves. I had spent the summer after I graduated high school on a backpacking trip in Wyoming.
Okay.
My dogs are barking. And I spent all this time in the wilderness, and I'd never done that before. And it was unreal. It was like this, kind of a spiritual, like come to Jesus moment
Okay.
of like, wow, this is quiet and dark and nothing else is out here except for the animals and the plants. And then I moved to the city and I was like, oh my God, why is this happening? And sitting in a park, the only bugs I see are ants and mosquitoes. There's
Mhm.
two bugs. There's no diversity. There's only like one kind of grass and then whatever the elm trees and sycamores that they have planted.
Okay.
It's very one track, like these are the species that the humans will tolerate, kind of.
Mhm.
And
Well,
I just
the roaches and the
hmm,
bed bugs really they showed
yeah,
us what time it was. They're like, no,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
here.
yeah,
We're in this. Okay.
yeah. And so I just felt really lost as a human and disconnected from humanness because I felt so upset at our behavior and how we went so mindlessly and carelessly through the world. Um, and I had a friend, and I told her this a couple years ago, and she's like, I don't remember saying that at all, but it changed my way of thinking. And she looked at me and she's like, Emily, humans are absurd. You just have to laugh. We do the stupidest stuff, or we do things that we think are serious, but it's really just absurd. So just laugh instead of being upset and pissed off. Just laugh. And I was like, oh, and
Oh.
that kind of just shifted everything for me.
But wait, what did you think this about? You said we though. Okay. So did you included yourself in this?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you know of like the mindless things that you would reflect upon them and be like, yeah, this what am I doing? What
Oh
did you
yeah,
have thoughts
sure.
like this?
Like, as a college student, it was like just the consuming and the trash and like put something in the microwave, cup of noodles,
Hmm.
get some coffee and dump a bunch of white sugar into it and like a ton of milk. I don't really like coffee that time in my life, but I thought I needed it. And
Okay.
so I drank it. And just the kind of careless attitude of, you know, not taking care of my body, watching other people abuse their bodies, when you're in college, staying up all night to study and, I had friends that would snort Ritalin
Mm,
and just be wired for days and not sleep. And then, it's kind of that invincible feeling in your early 20s of, oh, I can do anything. I
mhm,
can I can eat a pizza at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm fine. But
mhm.
like, how long can that happen for,
Right,
really?
right.
I mean, yeah, just the thought of that right now makes me feel awful.
Okay. But what do you, it's interesting because you, in a way I kind of get it, but I also would think if you thought, when thinking about these things, it could also trigger like a level of empathy of like people just being lost as well. Like they just, because
Yeah,
this despised is a strong word.
it
Despised.
is. It
Yeah,
is. It
yeah.
is. I definitely feel that now, but
You feel it now.
I feel the empathy now.
Okay.
But at that time in my life, in my early 20s, I was unable to see, like, oh, maybe it's um, the disregard is because there's distraction, because there's so much pain and hurt in somebody's life.
Hmm.
And I didn't get that then. I
Hmm.
mean, I grew up with an alcoholic father. I did not understand. I wasn't able to grasp that he was drinking to, whatever hurt or pain or addiction he had, that he was feeding that.
Hmm.
I didn't understand that until I was in my 30s. Like, I didn't understand that until I was older. And I still don't get it, but it is what it is. And I watched him die. I watched him die from alcohol stuff,
What didn't you? What you mean you didn't get it? What?
I didn't understand that people were behaving in that way because of pain or hurt, or, and then it becomes an addictive thing, behavior that just, it's a cycle, but that there's some distraction that they're seeking because of, X, Y, or Z that's happened to them in their past. Or
Mhm.
maybe it's maybe it's not in this lifetime. Maybe it was from other lifetimes and there's just a pain that they've carried with them. That's something I believe in, is that, there could be a pain from past lives that they don't actually consciously, I don't think many people consciously are aware of, like, oh, I'm an alcoholic because I was abused as a child. I don't
Mhm.
think that that's happening necessarily to people
Mhm.
that are an active state,
Mhm.
perhaps in recovery, but it's, uh, I think a huge part for me now is my disgust in humans is the destruction and the carelessness of our planet right now.
Mhm.
And every day I wake up and I'm like, does no one else see that the air is soupy? Like, we can't see. Does no one else see that? What is this person doing with this like black exhaust that's belching out of their car and then they just drive away? Do they
Mhm.
not see that that's happening?
Mhm.
There's just so much, it feels like willful ignorance that's
Mhm.
happening.
But but it could also be people not, or you tell me if you think it's possible that people don't, you grow up in a situation and this is what you know. This is what you know the world to be. You
Right.
did you ever see it was like one of the Back to the Future movies, and they went back to, he was back in the old West times, and somebody gave him some water, and it was like super brown, and for them it was like normal, and you're like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
don't think, you don't have any sense of perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 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 definitely. That's an interesting thing. I see it here where I live now. I grew up here. So I've seen this area completely get overtaken with development. But someone comes here from, another state and they move into one of these developments and it's great.
mm-hmm,
But I'm in my mind, I'm like, oh, that used to be a farm. That was
right,
open space. Like
right,
5 years ago, that was just a field. And
right,
now it's 200 homes.
right.
So I can definitely see how there's that there's kind of a, and every house is somewhere that used to be an open space. I mean, unless it's, you know, 1,000-year-old house. But, you know, humans are, you know, this is part of who we are, is we're guests here, and we're putting down some sort of structure to inhabit. That's just how it is. I think that we have this disconnect of our responsibility, our ultimate responsibility, to try to keep ourselves alive. I kind of feel like we're frogs in a pot of boiling water right now. Like, it's pretty dangerous. That's how I feel. And most of my disdain is from that feeling of, God, I'm part of this species and we're just fucking it up.